What is going on, everybody? Welcome to the Miami Sports Vibes YouTube channel. I am here with my guy Jacoby for another week breaking down some Dolphins football. Listen, folks, it has not gotten any easier for me and Jacoby here. We are suffering along with you guys. Jacoby, man, let's not waste any time, man. Let's get right into this, man. So the Dolphins, you got your quarterback, you got Tua back, that little optimism, that little hope that we possibly could have had playing the Cardinals at home, losing by 1 point. Takeaways from the game, brother.
Yeah, I mean, the defense just came out really flat. I mean, Marvin Harrison Jr. was cooking the Dolphins from the start. It just felt like Arizona was in control from the start. I didn't really feel any of those drives where Miami took the momentum and really asserted themselves in that game. And the offense, they go and they get a first drive touchdown, which we haven't seen all year long. And the vibes were great. The crowd was into it. It was what the spark this team was lacking. And then, of course, our defense plays great the last 5 weeks, completely shutting out. And then they go and they just get manhandled all day long by Kyler Murray and Marvin Harrison. So my takeaways, man, I mean, this was the nail in the coffin. As I told you guys last week, you win this game, you can open up the door, you can have some hope. But if you lose this game, it's going to be pretty bleak. And I think it puts the deadbolt on the season. And I think that's what happens, and I just think the coaching staff had an ultimate choke job at the end. So it was pretty pathetic, pretty gut wrenching. And, but quite frankly, I'm not surprised. I will say that.
Honestly, am I surprised? I'm a little surprised. I just expected this Dolphins team to really respond, man, to having Tua back. I really fell for the trap. I thought the boys were going to be ready to play. And I mean, it looked like it. Like, you and I texted, like, finally we get to see a drive with the ball moving. Like, things look to be headed in the right direction. And then things kind of got a little stagnant. And you can kind of tell that the Dolphins were kind of flirting around with potentially losing this game. You cannot let a team that's mediocre hang around. And that's exactly what the Dolphins did. I mean, their inability to put the game away, I put that on a lot of coaching. But you mentioned it, man. Like, it's just crazy how this Dolphins defense was balling. You only allowed 7 points at halftime. And then, Kyler Murray was under 100 yards passing, and he ended up with 300 plus. So it's just, lack of adjustments. It's on the whole coaching staff. It's on the whole team. Like, the whole team lost this football game. And that's pretty much been the recipe all season. It's a mixture of coaching. It's a mixture of the players, performances, the product on the field. I mean, you name it. It's just, it's mind-boggling to me, the alarming things that we're continuing to see now. The offense does something good, then the defense takes a step back. But then again, the offense had a chance to, put the game away and manage the clock. And it was probably one of the worst freaking offensive we saw go out there right before the Cardinals had a chance to even go win that game, which they eventually did, man. Let's talk Tua, man. Tua had a nice little first half, but in the second half, under 100 passing yards. I mean, inability to just put a team away. What were your takeaways on Tua and his return?
No, I thought he looked pretty great in the first half. He was firing on all cylinders, missed a couple of throws to Tyreek, but I don't think the offense helped him out as much. I mean, Jalen Waddle had a crucial drop inside the 10 that was right in his hands. Jonnu Smith had one that would have been a first down to keep a drive going. Could have gotten more out of it. But the main crucial mistake Tua had was the botched snap, catching the snap, and it resulted in a safety, which Miami lost by 1 point. So that in my opinion, I thought that ball was right to him. I thought he has to, you have to catch that. I didn't think it was an egregious snap. So pretty disappointing second half from Tua. I'm just, I at the same time, I don't think his team helped him out too much. I don't think the coaching staff helped him out too much. So I think it's an all. And then, Mike McDaniel called it at the beginning of the week. He said that, Tua is not going to be the savior. This needs to be an all-around effort. And I think that's, I'll give him credit for that. You're good to say that, but you guys continue to make the same mistakes and lack of adjustments. I mean, that's exactly what Arizona did. They adjusted. They went at David Long all game long, who just had a horrible game. They went at Ramsey all game long, who couldn't contain Harrison. Nope. So, and, it just worked. So pretty disappointing effort from the team. And now you find yourself 2-5 with pretty much all your easy games done.
Yeah, and it's mind boggling to see Jalen Ramsey, who's supposed to be, a top tier cornerback, that you paid money for. You gave him that extension, and you see him just getting toasted by a rookie, man. I know Marvin Harrison is a good player. He has a hell of a career ahead of him. But we're talking about Jalen Ramsey. I mean, I don't even think he's 30 years old. I think he's 29, if I'm not mistaken. Like, you should be able to shut down these dudes, man. Like, don't let a rookie punk you like that. And they were fully taking advantage, man. Like, the second half belongs like all to the Arizona Cardinals. Obviously, Kyler Murray with 200 plus yards through the air, Tua with less than 100 yards in the second half. Tyreek had 5 catches in the first half to 1 in the second half. I mean, we got outcoached, out schemed, everything, man. Like, and it's just it's tough, man. It's getting really tough, man. What do you think about the play calling in specific? Did you like the things that you saw with Tua, or was it a little bit of the same frustrations were still boiling for you there?
I mean, I thought the play calling was, it was pretty decent through the majority of the game, but the last drive was just horrendous, especially after you get the challenge and you get the first down. It just fell apart from there, and we just see this time and time again. You and I were talking about this before. This is starting to get repetitive on the show every week because we're talking about the same fucking issues every single week, and it's just the main thing that's standing out to me though right now is this team's attitude and body language. I think like you can't convince me that this locker room is completely lost in touch with the coaching staff, and it's, in my opinion, beyond saving for the rest of the season. And that's bad. It's only 8 weeks into the season. So I just think, the Dolphins are going to have a long road ahead to finish out the season, but I would be shocked if no moves are made pretty soon here, whether that's blowing up the team or making a change. But I thought it was pretty pathetic.
Yeah, no, I'm totally in agreement with you, man. I hate to see Jalen Wright have a lack of touches again. I mean, he produces on the minimal touches that he gets, and then McDaniel throws out, oh, the plan was to get him. Why is it always was? Why isn't like what happened? Like, it's just like half-ass accountability that Mike McDaniel takes, and I'm getting sick of it, man.
And what that tells me is that he's just trying to please everybody. He's just trying to be everybody's friend, make sure everybody touches the ball. Well, sometimes you need to give Tyreek Hill 15 targets. Sometimes you need to give Devon Achane 15 touches. Like, that's just how it's going to happen. So, I'm glad you brought that up. I'm just sick and tired of him coming up onto the post game to say, yeah, I got to do better at getting them the ball. I got to do better. Okay, that's fine. But you can't say that 5 weeks in a row. Yeah. And it doesn't get talked about enough, in my opinion. It's pretty fucking irritating. Like, I'm so over his bullshit excuses after every single game. And, to me, like his press conference this week, he looked so clocked out and defeated. And a lot of people say he looks like that every week, but I don't know. Something stood out to me a little differently after this game. I thought he looked just so clocked out, like after that game. And that pissed me off because I saw Adam Gase with more intensity at post games. Just I would pay anything to see Adam Gase just rip one of these players a new one. No, not Adam Gase, Mike McDaniel rip one of these players a new one and just get pissed off at the podium or something like that. So
I wish.
I just it's such a shit show.
What Mike is crazy, bro. I kind of felt that vibe even in, I don't know if you did, but even like week 1, even heading into the season, for some reason, it felt like it was a different Mike McDaniel that we're used to seeing. Like, there was a huge difference in overall vibe. I mean, in my opinion. So, and to see him look defeated, it was like, yeah, this is how I expect him to look after this game, especially. And it's disappointing because I really thought that Mike McDaniel was going to, like, everything is cool when you're winning games, man. And once things hit the fan and things get rough, like, and you're not producing and you got to have that medium where you can't just be so friendly all the time. And look at it, man. Like, would you say he lost the locker room already?
Oh yeah. I mean, like I just said earlier, I think he lost. I think the locker room was lost at the Seattle game. I think he lost the locker room so early this season. because like, as a coach, you can't be not like, you can be a player's coach. You can be that kind of guy, but you have to have that dominance. You have to have that assertiveness with your players. I don't think he's ever had that assertiveness with this team in his 3 years here. So now that things are hard and tough, how do you expect the players to respond in those tough scenarios? Like, you watched Hard Knocks.
Mhm.
We seen the behind the scenes and those losses at the end of the season. He's not yelling at anybody. He's not getting into people's faces. He's coddling them. He said we did every like he's just telling them what they want to hear. And now we're in a season where we're at a losing record. We're losing consecutive games, which he's never done in his career before. And it's interesting to see how he responds to that. I bet you it's the same shit because this locker room doesn't respond on the field, and people are laughing on the sidelines having fun. Like,
Crazy.
this locker room is so lost and so undisciplined, and it's been there the entire time. We're just seeing it now. Well, I've seen it the whole time,
Yeah,
but
you
we're
have.
just seeing it now because this team is losing.
It's crazy because I feel like this whole organization, top to bottom, is just soft and getting softer every single week, bro. And week by week, they're getting softer and softer and softer. I mean, we're talking about like where are we now? Like, we're talking about, hey, you got to be our head coach, but you got to make sure that you tell Tua that he's the best quarterback because the previous head coach said he was ass and he almost wanted to quit because the coach told him he was ass. Are you kidding me? And
No,
then
I love that you bring that up because Tua made me like face. I sent you this tweet earlier. Like, Tua made me face palm so hard. Like, they asked him, you're 2-5. What's the mindset? And he's like, well, a few years ago we were 1-7 and we won 7 in a row and we didn't have half that much talent. I'm like, okay, so you're gonna talk shit about your time with Brian Flores for 3 years and you're just gonna throw shade at him every time, but then you're gonna come up here and praise the team that he helped lead back into from a 1-7 deficit. Like, you got to make up your fucking mind, bro.
yeah.
I mean, I would, that team with nearly not as much talent came back from 1-7 and almost won 10 games. And you cannot convince me that this team will do that with Mike McDaniel. So,
Yeah. You
I
can't
mean,
you
two,
can't
two
even.
is just he drove me crazy. Drove me crazy after seeing that
Yeah,
quote.
I thought that quote was completely ridiculous. Like, you cannot compare both of those teams at all. Both of those styles.
Especially with how much shit you've talked on Brian Flores. So,
Yeah, that's just ridiculous. But like I was saying, I feel like this organization is soft. Like, Tua has never came into training camp competing for his job. It's like, come on, man. Why is everything being gifted to these people? Why? Why? I mean, but it starts from the top. We're giving Mike McDaniel a contract extension. The dude hasn't even won a playoff game. Hasn't won the division. I mean, what are we
2
doing?
back-to-back season collapses.
Exactly. Tua is not even competing for a starting job. He's just gifted it. I mean, come on now. Like, at least have a guy compete. I feel like competition makes you good. You know what I mean? Like, we're not even drafting. We're not even drafting another guy yet. Why? Why haven't we drafted somebody to kind of learn? I mean, Tua's obviously not the answer long term. Look at the scenarios. He could barely stay on the field. It's just like top to bottom, bro. I feel like we've done such a shitty job of just overall toughness from top to bottom, bro. And it's getting worse and worse. Like, this Dolphins team is soft as Charmin, bro. Like, it's bad. They're so soft.
Yeah, it's beyond terrible, and it's just I like how you bring that up. Everybody was just gifted in a sense, like their role on the team. There's no sense of urgency and competitive to meet the standard and make you prove that you got to be the guy you are. Because, like, look at Jalen Waddle. I mean, tremendous talent, but he fails to show up in these clutch moments, drops the ball repeatedly, but he's going to get the same amount of chance. Like, there's got to be some pull. There's got to be some discipline, to make these players learn from their mistakes. Talk is cheap. You can say it all you want. So I couldn't agree with you more there. And they still haven't brought in a valuable like backup quarterback even after this. Like, they cut Tim Boyle and reinstated Skyler. Like,
Yeah, it's like, what?
I mean, if I have to go with those two, I'm taking Tim Boyle. So, like, I mean, it's just, man, we'll see. But
Yeah.
trade deadline's in a couple weeks. We're gonna see what they're gonna do. But
Yep. November
Very
5th
bleak,
is
very bleak.
November 5th is the deadline. Listen, I hope that this team somehow, some way just blows it up. Obviously, there's a lot of money things that are probably not going to make us unable to do that the way I wish we could. But man, I really wish that this team would get rid of Greer, get rid of Mike McDaniel, move on from Tua, start looking at another option, and just gut this damn team, change this whole culture, bro. Change this, get the softness out and rebuild this whole shit, man. I really wish, but that's probably not going to happen. We do have Buffalo this week, a team that has kicked our ass, Dolphin fans. Don't come in here with this optimistic shit. They have kicked our ass, and I'm not doing it again. But we're going to just get into our just straight up keys to victory because the preview, there's no need to preview. Like the Bills own us. What the hell do the Dolphins have to do? What are the keys to victory, Jacoby? Your 3 keys to the Dolphins winning this game.
Yeah, I mean, I think your first key is you're going to have to just shut down Josh Allen completely. He's been in total takeover mode of every game this season, and I think if you allow him to even get one rushing touchdown, I think they're just that's going to be enough, especially in a hostile environment in Buffalo. Second key is honestly, man, just adjustments. You can't have the half you did and then come in the second half and just completely die and roll over. This team has to adjust to what Buffalo throws at them, and Buffalo is going to be more healthier than they were in week 2. So I don't really, I kind of expect this outcome to be a little worse. And then my third key of the game is to get the wide receivers more involved. Yeah, Tyreek Hill had the best game that he did since probably week 1. But 6 catches isn't enough. So I mean, I need more from him. We need some big plays. Like that's what Miami feasted on last season. So you need to get him and Waddle involved. Get OBJ involved. Just get these guys involved. Stop going with the easy routes. And even if they do all those 3 keys, man, they could be in okay shape. But I think this is gonna be an ugly game. So.
Yeah. Listen, I appreciate you pushing through for those keys. I got my 3 keys are number 1, protect the football. Last time we threw 3 interceptions to this Buffalo Bills team, and it went all downhill, from there. Those turnovers are costly. The Bills capitalize off turnovers. We've talked about it so many times on this show. They're a team that just thrives off momentum. They score in bunches, bro. It's so true, especially against the Dolphins. So the Dolphins have been fumbling the football lately. Obviously, they didn't throw picks, but they have been fumbling. All right. They threw 3 picks last time. I think they got to limit and protect the football. That's number 1. Number 2, I would like to have them get into the lead early. Obviously, they did score first against Arizona. I liked playing with a lead. I think that the Dolphins are much better playing with a lead than playing from behind, even though they did blow the game to Arizona. I want to see them get off to a lead because trailing in Buffalo is very hard to dig yourself back into the game. And then try to hold Josh Allen to under 200 yards, bro. He's been killing it this freaking season. But in the 2 losses, he did have under 200 yards, and those losses were to the Houston Texans and Baltimore Ravens. They are a way better team than us, though, ladies and gentlemen. But if you can contain Josh Allen, that would be the key. But do I think these things happen? Quite frankly, unfortunately, I do not. I have the Dolphins losing this game. Man, if I had to say a score at I say like 34-13, bro. That's how bad
Oh
it's
yeah,
gotten for me.
that's where mine was going to be around. I had him. I honestly don't think 34 is enough for Buffalo. I think they're going to get almost to 40. I had 38-10 for
Woo!
this game. Yeah,
Tough
I think it's going to be
times.
a rout. I mean, seeing what they did to Seattle last week, oh man, I think it's going to get really ugly really fast. So
Yeah, that will be tough, bro. And that's where it has gotten. Let me see. So the trade deadline is the November 5th. So by the time our next show happens, we might have a little bit of changes with this Dolphins team. So you think the Dolphins make moves?
I mean, I was telling you, I truly hope there's some sort of move. I truly hope this is Mike McDaniel's last game as a Dolphins head coach, but we'll see. But at the same time, what we've been talking about all year, they just paid everybody, they just extended everybody. So I don't really think they can make any moves unless they're going to completely blow up the team, regardless of the dead caps, stack up on draft capital. I guess that's the only route you can really go. But you really are stuck with this team right now.
Nah, man. Well, we shall see how it goes. and we'll be here to break it down next week. Maybe
Yeah.
have some interesting news. But Jacoby, let's talk some fantasy, man. Some positive news.
Yeah, I mean, this fantasy week was God, this was my third straight week scoring over 130 points, and I still lost. Thanks to fucking Brock Purdy being selfish and getting a rushing touchdown.
What an asshole.
In the late there, and I lost Jordan Love at halftime, so I lost by 7 points, and I had Jordan Love give me 5 points. But my team's been on absolute fire the last 4 weeks, and I feel confident with it. But yeah, it's a pretty good week. I got some buys this week, so got to adjust accordingly. But putting up 130 points, I'm not going to be too upset. But
what's your record at now?
I'm 5-3. I should be 6-2.
Yeah, man.
And I think I'm like second in points right now. So, no, third in points. So, yeah, did you win this week?
No, man. I went from 0-3 to 3-3, and now I'm 3-5, and I've been losing by just a nail, bro. And now I got you this week, right? Are you only?
Oh shit! Well, you might. George Kittle has been my savior all year, dude, and he's got a bye this week. So.
Oh no, I got your brother. OnlyFans.
Okay, gotcha.
That's your brother, right?
I got you next week. Yeah.
Okay.
So, but yeah. So back to what I was saying. Fun week. That Commanders and Bears game. That was a good, crazy ending. That was
awesome.
That was an awesome one. So I'm excited for this week. But I am going to be sad without George Kittle this week. But hopefully I can get a suitable replacement.
Yeah, hopefully, because
going to my stardom sit-ems for the week. I'm going to start with the quarterbacks. I'm going to give some praise to the man with the Hail Mary throw. I'm going to give Jalen Daniels my first stardom of the week. Obviously, he's going to probably be the without a doubt rookie of the year. He's been playing exceptionally well, and it's crazy that the Commanders are probably going to win a playoff game before Miami does. So, but they got the Giants, and they've just been, they're the Giants. They've just been struggling all year long. So I think Jaden Daniels has a pretty good game this week. He's the QB3 right now, so that's going to be my first stardom. And then my second one, I'm going with Mr. Primetime Kirk Cousins. He's right now the QB12. He's only averaging about 15.5 points a game right now. Had a great game against Tampa, 28 points after a bad game against the Seahawks, and he's going up against Dallas this week. So, and Dallas is just, their defense has just not been what it's, what we're used to seeing. So Kirk Cousins is going to be my second stardom. And now going to the sit-ems. I know Detroit has been red hot, but I got to tell you, I don't like the matchup against Green Bay, who are 8th against quarterbacks. And they've just been giving quarterbacks a tough time, forcing a lot of turnovers. So I got Jared Goff being my first sit-em, even though he's been pretty solid all year long. So, and then I'm going with a repeat sit-em in Geno Smith. I think the Seahawks are spiraling right now, especially without DK Metcalf. So I don't like that matchup at all for Geno Smith. And I think those are pretty fair picks. And I really love the Kirk Cousins pick after last week. So I think those are pretty good for the quarterbacks.
Yeah, I love Kirk, bro. He's just a solid quarterback to have.
Yeah, I think he's just really reliable. I think he's still got the arm strength. He's still got the IQ. So I love that matchup. So going to my running backs, my first two for my stardoms. I'm going to give some love to Kyren Williams because I think he's been getting a lot of hate lately. I've seen a lot of fantasy segments where they're like, "Oh, this isn't going to last. Trade him while you can. Trade him while you can." Like I've just been hearing about that like all season long. And he's going against Seattle, whose run defense has sucked. They're averaging 25 points to running back. So I think the Rams utilize that and get Kyren Williams going pretty well. And then my first stardom, after a couple of down weeks, I think he rebounds this week. That is Alvin Kamara. They got Carolina this week, and I think there's going to be a lot of garbage time touches for Kamara. And I'm not too sure if they're going to get Derek Carr back. So we'll see about that. And if they do, he'll get some more check down opportunities. So give Kamara the start for sure. Don't even think about trading him or sending him out. I think he gets a great game this week.
Nice. I like that Kyren Williams pick too.
Yeah, and then going to my sit-ems, I'm going to give Devon Achane the sit. I know he's been having a great season. He did fall to the running back 17. He had a great game against Arizona, 26 fantasy points without any touchdowns, I believe. No touchdowns. Mostert got both of the touchdowns. So, but I think even though Buffalo's run defense is terrible at ranked 31, you're probably thinking, why is Achane getting the sit? Well, I think because this game is going to be pretty much a rout, and I think they're going to be throwing a lot. And I don't, even if Achane gets going pretty well, I don't expect Mike McDaniel to respond to adversity pretty well and stick with it. So I'm not going to do that. And then my second sit-em is going to be Josh Jacobs. Detroit's running defense is number 2 in the league. He is now the running back 10. He's been having tremendous starts. He's scored over 20 points the last 2 weeks, but I think Detroit gives them a tough time on the run. So those would be my 2 sit-ems for the running backs.
I think it's fair enough. Achane has been killing it, but damn, that Buffalo matchup, bro.
Yeah.
I
just think I think it gets out of control too much, and and we're gonna see what happens. But even if Achane has a tremendous game, like I said, I don't expect McDaniel to stick with it. So
don't feel good. I mean, he only had 10 carries this past weekend. It's crazy.
And then going on to my wide receivers, going to give some love to my guy Cooper Kupp. Came back last week from an ankle injury, gave me solid 16 points. And I think I love his matchup this week against Seattle. And now that they're making it an emphasis that they're going to keep him, I trust Sean McVay is going to make sure he is involved heavily in their offense now, and they're going to continue making him, just a target horse. I think he had 18 targets that first game before he got hurt. So Cooper Kupp's my first stardom. So stoked he's back. And then going on to my second one, I'm going to give some love to the Bears because I think they need to have a big bounce back game after that loss against the Commanders. So DJ Moore is going to be my second stardom. Wide receiver 26. We all know DJ Moore ain't a wide receiver 26. So I think this game against the Cardinals, ranked 24th against the pass, they're averaging 34 points to wide receivers. So DJ Moore, it's going to be my second stardom. I love that matchup. And then going to the wide receiver sit-ems. I'm going to give another Dolphin here, Jalen Waddle. As a big Waddle guy myself, got a Waddle jersey right behind me. I just haven't been sold. I think he's playing down to his ability, and I don't think he's helping out the team as much with these drops. And I think Tyreek Hill is going to get more of an emphasis. They go to Jonnu Smith more than they do Waddle sometimes. So I'm going to give him my first sit-em. And plus Buffalo is 6th in defense against receivers. So I'm not even going to take my chances. And I know you got Waddle, so have fun with that.
Yeah, I hate it right now.
Yeah, and then secondly is going to go with Zay Flowers. No hate towards Zay Flowers. I just I really don't like the matchup against Denver, who are just, Denver's been the shock of the league right now at 5-3. But Denver's 4th against wide receivers. Pat Surtain, I don't think he played this week. I think he comes back soon, but even if not. I still don't like it. They did really good against the pass last week, and I'm just gonna stay away from that start against a top 5 passing defense. So that would be my sit-ems.
What do you think about Deontay Johnson joining Baltimore? You think that has fantasy value there?
Yeah, I think it does, but not this week. I think I always like to give it a settle in, a bit of a settle in process. But if they do get Deontay Johnson pretty involved this week, I think that would be great for Baltimore. I think that helps them out a lot.
Nice. All right, tight ends.
Yeah, tight ends. Well, with the fall of Chris Godwin, I'm going to like this one receiver's target increase. Not sure if Mike Evans comes back this week as well, but this is going to be Cade Otton. He's right now the tight end 6. And last week he had a whopping 29 points on National Tight Ends Day. Wow. So you got to love that. 2 touchdowns. So I'm going to just continue riding the hot hand with him. If you can even organize a trade for him, I would go for it for sure. And then my second stardom, I think they're finally getting him back out of the funk and into the offense consistently as he has been for the last 10 years. But Travis Kelce, Tampa Bay, is also having struggles against tight ends, ranked 27th, and they're averaging 14 points to tight ends, which is pretty good. So roll with Kelce. A lot of people gave up on him early, so I like the matchup for sure. And honestly, when I came to the sit-ems, this was before I saw the Stephon Diggs news, but Stephon Diggs now out with a torn ACL. So I had Dalton Schultz on there, and maybe I'll just keep him on there for now because the Jets have a really good defense against tight ends. But I think Dalton Schultz does get a target increase, but the Jets defense, even though it's ranked 9th, I mean, they haven't been amazing. So I and they're 2-6 right now. So Dalton Schultz has yet to break double digits in fantasy this week. So that's why I'm going to keep him on the sit-em. But I do think he gets a target increase with Stephon Diggs out now. And then going on to my last sit-em for the tight ends will be Laporta. He's currently fall to the tight end 17. He had the best game of the season last week was 16 points, but with Green Bay, they do got a solid defense against tight ends as well. And I think, Dan Campbell has really found a groove with that Gibbs and Montgomery duo. And then they go to St. Brown as well. So I'm going to go with Laporta sitting out this week. So those are my start sit-ems. I think they're pretty efficient. And hope you guys get a win. I need to get back on track this week for sure. So we'll
Definitely.
see.
I appreciate you. Hey, is there anybody who you feel like is from a fantasy perspective that's kind of not meeting your expectation, but you think better days are ahead?
Michael Pittman. I think he had a very slow start to the season. And then when Flacco went in, he was finally getting the target share we've been wanting. And now Anthony Richardson pretty much gave up on himself, lost his starting job. Now Flacco's back in. So I still think I want to try to trade Pittman right now because I have so much depth at the receiver, and I think I can get a solid upgrade elsewhere. But if you do have Pittman, I wouldn't give up yet. I would say that's a valid candidate right there for what you just asked.
Solid. What about DeAndre Hopkins and KC? Are you buying that better days?
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to buy anybody that goes to Patrick Mahomes, and with the with the injuries they are having right now, I think DeAndre Hopkins over the course of the season is going to be just fine over there. So, and you can probably get him. Well, I doubt it now, but you could probably still get him for pretty cheap in your leagues.
Last question, Jerry Jeudy, stock up with Jameis Winston or no, or stays the same?
That was tough because Jameis did look pretty good.
He did.
But I'm gonna say he stays the same right now. I don't want to say stock up right now because the Browns have more issues than just the quarterback right now. So I'm gonna say no. I'm gonna say no right now.
And they have a tough matchup against the Chargers as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Chargers are playing great football right now.
Alrighty, so that wraps it up. So Jacoby, you got the Dolphins losing, huh?
I do. Yeah, I don't even think it's gonna be close.
Yeah. Likewise here, ladies and gentlemen. Me and Jacoby will be back next week, possibly talking about a new Dolphins team, new Dolphins coach. We will see. Trade deadline is next week. We will have plenty of things to talk about on next week's show. Good luck, Dolphin fans, watching the game. It's going to be an ugly one, but we shall see how it goes. Yeah, Jacoby, best of luck to you watching the game as well, man.
Thank you so much. You too, man.
We'll see everybody next week. Make sure to hit the thumbs up button and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Enjoy this NFL weekend. Good luck to you guys, Dolphin fans. We'll see you next week.